Beautiful. And we are live. So I'm going to pull this up here in the Facebook group. Welcome to our live today, guys. For you guys that are on time, prime time, top of the hour, felt right to jump out here for a little family meeting and talk about the updates. There's been a lot of updates this week. What's happening? Talk about the new shipping dates, the incoming shipment dates for Amazon. And also there's been some updates on the outgoing stuff that's non-essential. I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about the merchant fulfilling strategy today. So we pulled a little town hall meeting. I am joined by Grant Dunn, co-founder, master systems builder, multiple businesses, and then your brother who has become our operations, Taylor Dunn. Should introduce you as operations first, brother second. We're family though. I'm Gabe Strom here in Chicago. These guys are in Washington for you guys joining us. Grant, how you doing first, man?
Great. I've got my home office set up at the kitchen table. I had Taylor bring my office chair because I was so uncomfortable after a couple hours of sitting in a kitchen chair. And luckily for me, it's nap time for the boys. So I'm doing good, man.
Even Cheddar has a home. We have an office. You guys moved into an office, but now even with an office, you're working from home, which is ironic. Taylor, are you at the office today, man? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm at the office. I've been coming back and forth to the office. We're in quarantine right now, but we made ourselves a nice fancy letter to allow us to come to the office. I'm essential.
You made a letter to who?
I don't know. We were having some friends.
Police?
To the police, most likely. We had some friends. Well, because Washington's under full quarantine right now, so we're not technically supposed to be traveling around unless we're essential.
Right.
And so I had family members and friends who work in the food industry and other industries that were getting letters from their works, basically if you got pulled over, letting them know like, hey, I work for a place that is deemed essential.
Yeah.
So we have moved from an Amazon store to a logistics and distribution company that handles food and medical supplies and household items.
That's right. Just doing our part to help the world. You know what I'm saying? So welcome everybody. So we talk about these things today. You guys are in quarantine. Chicago's in lockdown, which there's some controversial stuff happening still. They've closed down parks now because people are still gathering and doing stuff like that. I saw a video from a buddy of mine yesterday. Let me talk real quick. I want to, we all three haven't been on, so we wanted to, if you guys are on live, we wanted to hang out with you guys for a little bit. Let's just go through updates. Taylor, give me before we get into the details, like 30 seconds, what's been happening in your store this week? If you had to just kind of give cliff notes from a seller's perspective.
Well, sales are down, which I'm not surprised about. I don't think Grant was surprised about at all. When you have, a good majority of the country right now out of work, people don't usually seem to want to buy clothing and shoes and other great items like that.
Yep.
Sales are down, not down a ton though. I don't know. I would guess that we're probably seeing about a 30% drop, 30 maybe to 40% drop on some days, but not too bad.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
That's my superpower. I was just going to say that our 30-day run right now is 20% down. So the last 2 weeks, though, is where Taylor's saying we're at that 30 to 40% run in drop.
So it's been slowing down for you guys in the clothing and shoes. Now, you made the shift to essentials, and we had the team make the shift to essentials right when we got this word. This was, 2 weeks ago, I think, at this time. So have you been sourcing as much clothing and shoes, or how much more of essentials are you sourcing right now?
We're able to keep up with it quite a bit. Our team, luckily, majority of our list has been items in those key categories, a lot in the makeup and health and beauty area. So we're still hitting our normal budget. We have a minimum spend of about $12,000 a week. We were able to hit that today on Friday. Charles finished up purchasing. So we're still able to stay on track with that. And for the most part this week, we've only been buying essentials. We are just now starting to dip our toes into buying items to FBA later, because there's sales going on. I mean, stores are giving out the discounts, the opportunities there. I have a strong feeling that this is going to bounce back around here after the next month or so, especially once those stimulus checks start to be dropping in people's bank accounts. I think the essential workers are going to go out and spend their money and get those new pair of Nikes that they're wanting.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the rebound. Maybe we'll save that. I think somebody wants a new pair of shoes. I saw that this morning on Instagram. I saw an Adidas ad for 30% off. So Adidas, I bet Nike's doing it. There's a lot of retailers that are trying to give people incentives to keep spending money. I agree. I don't think it's going to be that long. That's going to happen. So you guys are buying. So you're buying clothing and shoes ahead, like a month ahead, a month or two ahead, depending on when you think this happens. But I would have to agree, man. I think people are in prime time essential mode now for the next couple of weeks, and then people are still going to buy shoes. It's springtime. You know, people are going to still come out. Okay, cool. Any other, from your account perspective, are you guys doing much more merchant fulfilled, or are you still doing FBA, or what are you guys doing on that front?
We're upping our merchant fulfill game. We've been sending things into FBA. We're actually changing that strategy up today because we're seeing that the merchant fulfill offers are starting to get the buy box on a much higher scale than they used to. So certain items, certain like makeups, for instance, non-essential items, but not super essential items, we're going to start moving towards a merchant fulfill strategy with those. And so I have Charles, he's going in right now to do shipping, and he's going to start creating merchant fulfill listings that I will check in later today and get the prices set up on them and get them selling and rolling.
Very cool, man. Well, let's talk about, there's been some other big shifts with the shipping dates, and I want to go through, I know I had heard different things. You and I connected beforehand, and you were able to do some research. Last I had heard was that Amazon was not allowing incoming FBA shipments for non-essentials for April 5th. So has that changed, or are we still on pace for April 5th to resume?
So Grant and I were talking about this earlier today as well, and kind of trying to make an understanding of what Amazon was telling us. And what our take on it is that it is going to be extended, those restrictions, but they are starting to broaden the type of items that you can start sending in. And it's going to start happening on a per item basis and slowly instead of just all of the sudden. So as of right now, the way we're taking that letter or that email was April 5th will be extended for restrictions, but they are starting to broaden. My guess is they got their 100,000 employees up and running, and they're starting to catch up with what's going on. And so they're going to slowly be rolling out these non-restricted items.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things that they said is they're practicing social distancing in the facilities. So you can imagine that's having an effect on how they operate. And the way they worded it is they're going to, yeah, like Taylor said, they're going to continue the restrictions beyond, the exact wording was beyond April 5th, but we're going to start opening up ASINs on a per item basis based on supply, and we still have demand. So,
okay. So TBD, I mean, you guys get the same email, you guys watching the group get the same email that we do. And so we just want to help you guys stay ahead. So best practice or best practice would be just to check, just try to set up your shipments come the 5th, and kind of as you can send stuff in. And for things that you can't, it's a good opportunity to look at merchant fulfilling. So for anything small and light, I know you guys said you've made a shift for our private label. We were talking offline, our private label item is small and light. So we're going to be making a shift to get that merchant fulfilled and setting up a system for that. So cool. Taylor, any other, I had also heard one other thing I wanted to talk about. That was the restrictions on incoming shipments. I had also heard, and was brought to my attention on Monday of this week, that Amazon had also put a restriction on people buying things, prime customers buying things and not being shipped out until a later date. And I had heard like later in April, and you guys have seen that on a category by category basis be different. So have you seen a delay in products coming or getting sent to customers?
I've seen a small amount. I would say a good chunk of items I'm seeing are still being shipped out and should arrive on the normal schedule for what Amazon does. But there has been some items that I've come across that I see that it's a later expectation or a later arrival date than what is normal. So I can't say with certainty, but I do see it on some items. I'm not sure how large of a scale that is. But it doesn't, again, doesn't surprise me with all the things that they're trying to do at this right now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Doom and gloom. Aren't you guys glad you came to the webinar today?
We're talking about them keeping social distancing. And when Grant was saying that, I don't know why, but I pictured that a bunch of Amazon employees with 6-foot discs around themselves, just walking around, bumping into each other like a ring of protection, a bubble that they can't pop.
Dude, have you guys by chance been to a fulfillment center on one of their tours?
We haven't yet.
You haven't?
There's one in Spokane that I've thought about stopping at one day and just taking a look at.
Dude, you guys owe it to you guys have been selling for 5 years. You owe it to yourself to go. I did this 8-9 months ago, and they have like one in Kenosha. You can look online. They have one in Kenosha because not all of them do tours. but it was me and like a bunch of old people basically, for lack of a better word. And I looked at the lady. I'm like, is there like a trend? And she's like, listen, it's people that have time. Like business owners is like 20%, and then we have the elderly that come and they just want to see how Amazon works. But my mind, if you guys haven't done this, my mind was blown because so much, at least of this particular facility, I think there was like 26 that have robotics in them. So not all the Amazon facilities have the robotics, but there was machines like everywhere. And the only human interaction, there was a human that would stand at a workstation, like anything like moving pallets from one side of the warehouse to the other, anything simple. There's like highways where the robots go. And then there's a whole area you guys can look up on YouTube that's blocked off by a fence that has these little square robots that are like this tall that just go, they're picking up whole towers of products and bringing it to a workstation. The employees don't go get the products when you order. The products get brought to an employee's workstation. They turn, they grab this item, it's on the screen, they put it on a belt, and boom, it gets shipped off on this like line. So they didn't have to actually touch people. There was very few actually human interaction in the automated. Now in the non-automated buildings, there's probably a lot of human interaction. So that's probably where Amazon's having to make a big shift. And I would imagine that through all this is going to make a bigger push on their robotics too. But my head was, it's stuff that you see like in a sci-fi movie, like right in front of you, and you're like, oh my gosh, like it's going to make you have Charles go. Charles' head will explode with Charles go, a shipping department. Anyways.
One of the things in response to what you're talking about versus with FBA not shipping items out as quickly as normal, which is true. And I believe it'll say on the listing when the item would ship based on who has the buy box or whatever. But this is something, the conversation that we've been seeing inside of Black Chat, and I believe Charles Hammer, Gary Spring, they've been kind of going back and forth along with several other people inside of Black Chat. One of the things he popped in here and said on the Zoom chat is, it says the shipping date is way out, but some things are faster, and therefore many more people are buying merchant fulfill. Even merchant fulfill can beat out FBA on the buy boxes. And that's one of the things, the discussions that's been happening inside of that chat. So some insider stuff, get inside Black Chat next year or in 2020. But one of the things that is happening is merchant fulfilled prices can actually match an FBA price or just barely beat an FBA price and get the buy box, where normally a merchant fulfilled price would have to beat the FBA offer by closer to 10% to get the buy box.
So that's big. I'm glad you brought that up, because we wanted to hit on that today. So you're seeing, that's one of the shifts you're seeing those merchant fulfilled stuff. So you're saying if you got a $20 item, you can merchant fulfill at $19.99 and win the buy box. Whereas before, I didn't know that you guys had seen like a 10%. I know that they rewarded the FBA stuff heavy. I didn't know it was that heavy, but Amazon can't get stuff out. So I think they're rewarding merchant fulfilled sellers, because that's just putting, pumping products through their system that they don't have to. I think they're just rewarding it and they're showing it.
And buyers who understand how the system works and how the Amazon is, on every listing, there's a bunch of offers. I think what they're doing is they're looking at the offers as well. Even if, let's say FBA has the buy box, they're going in, seeing that they can get it from a merchant fulfilled seller quicker, and they're willing to buy from that customer or from that seller to get it shipped within a quicker time frame. So.
Well, I wanted to go through the keys for merchant fulfilled. Taylor, did you have any other real pressing current event changes for things, or can we shift gears and go through those keys?
A couple other things. So removal orders right now are on pause from Amazon. So if you are setting up a removal order, you're not going to get it anytime soon. You can still be placing those orders, and you should be placing those orders. We got an email from Amazon not that long ago letting us know that we had some units that needed to be removed or they were going to get destroyed. So setting up that order helps prevent those items from getting destroyed. We're going to end up getting them back. So that's on pause right now while they go through this time. And then the other thing is long-term storage fees for April 15th are going to be waived. So anybody who's been looking up, who's worried about their long-term storage fees this April 15th, don't worry about it. They are going to be waived, as well as Amazon is going to mitigate, I think I said that right, your account health to reflect the fact that excessive units and things like that in long-term storage fees aren't being applied. So your account health shouldn't be taking a hit from anything sitting on Amazon for too long, or any excess units for the time being.
Okay.
That's all the news that I got.
Did you mention that Amazon Lending is skipping a payment also?
Yep.
Yeah, they're skipping a payment until
Yeah,
May.
Yep, until May. All if you have an Amazon loan set up right now, you're not going to have to worry about paying that until May, um, which is really great news for all those who have Amazon lending. Those payments coming out of your payout when you're down in sales is it's really rough. So having that little bit of cushion is really nice, and you will not accrue interest during that time either, which is also a great thing. So glad to see that Amazon's doing that.
So this is good news, guys. You got to make it a little more positive. You guys
Yeah.
sound like it's. Can I just ask the monkey? I got to ask this question on a live on my Facebook the other day on people's opinions on Amazon lending. Grant, can I just ask your personal opinion? If there's a seller in the group saying, "Hey, I got invited to use Amazon lending. Should I use it or not?" What's your personal
I mean, there's better
advice on
forms
that?
of lending. There's better forms of lending.
There's better forms of lending.
Right.
What makes them? What's not good about Amazon? What don't you like? Like what's better?
Yeah, it's short-term lending, and it can kind of be a debt trap too. I mean, the thing is if you're going to take out an Amazon loan, you need to be able to grow with that loan. So you really need to understand your numbers, be able to grow your sales with that loan, so that you can actually afford the new payment that you're taking on. And I think because it's such a short-term loan, a lot of sellers get caught in a little bit of a debt trap with them, and will end up refinancing over and over and growing that loan into something that they can't eventually afford to pay.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I've never personally used one, full disclosure, but I've talked, so many sellers that I know that have, I've heard so many stories of bad experiences, through it. So I think it solves a short-term problem. I agree. There's better funding out there. There's a lot, especially now, there's a lot of SBA stuff. It's going to be longer to get. It's not going to be as fast, but there's a lot of cheap, financing out there if you are in a place to scale. I would agree, Grant, know your numbers before you get to make this decision on any kind of funding. If you don't, the easiest way to keep yourself out of trouble is just to be a cash basis inventory. You can't really can't really screw up as bad. It keeps your mistakes to a minimum. If you were to recommend better besides SBA stuff, like any other types of better financing that you would seen, and if you don't have any, I'm just curious if you have found like any other resources for folks.
I mean, if you can access private lending through a family member or a friend or an investor, I think that you can negotiate some decent terms there.
Yeah, I would agree. Cool. Sidebar on that. I know that's just a popular question that gets thrown around. And there's a lot of stuff, man. Depending on how your business has been affected, there's relief stuff out there too, that's been passed around. Cool. Well, thanks for the updates, Taylor. So good and bad. We want to tell you guys, just shoot it to you like it is. We're taking business on a week by week basis, just like you guys. Grant, Taylor, have you guys slowed down? You're still buying. Have you slowed your budgets down at all? Or are you just going to buy right through this season, buying for April, May, and looking on the pipe for summer?
We're not slowing down. We're going to keep our foot on the pedal like we normally do. We have our minimum budget that we want to spend, and then we have our max budget. And so as we're going to be in between those numbers, everything changing and stuff. Our team has done a great job providing, high quality leads that are able to be sold right now and are easy to be sold right now. So we haven't had an issue this week. I don't see that happening. Our team's on board. They're staying aware of everything that's going on, and so they're on top of it. Couldn't be any prouder and happier of our team. So no, we're not slowing down.
They turned the lead sourcing team turned on a dime to provide essentials. By the way, short plug today for those of you guys that got a Cheddar list. They got a little fatty bomb drop today. If you guys open up your Cheddar list and notice there was like 12 to 14 leads, that's just to say thank you guys. Taylor, you mind sharing why? We like to be cool and just drop these little love bombs on you guys. Why do we have some extra Cheddar love today?
So the team knows that when it comes to sales and promotions, if there's a site that it's doing like a 30% off their entire site, there's a lot of leads that come from that one source. Now, we don't try to drop it all into one list in the middle of the week. We want to keep diversity up on our list. So you might see it from a certain source, 2 to 3 leads per list on a certain source. But at the end of the week, if that sale is going to end in the weekend, they know that they need to deliver every lead that they have from that source, or else it's a waste. And so you'll see these every once in a while. You might see these larger than normal lists, and normally it's because there's just a great sale going on right now that's going to end during the weekend. And so we want to make sure that we're providing you with all the information when we have it, and not throttling that. We will throttle throughout the week and kind of hold, and make sure we're not just overfilling the list. But usually Thursdays, Fridays will be those times that you'll see larger than normal lists. because of sales ending.
Yeah, dude. So that's nice. So if this might happen more frequently on Fridays, you guys are basically just sharing weekend leads ahead of time. While we're talking about it, before we shift gears to the merchant fulfill, we'll take a little pause because you guys want to know updates on Cheddar. Cheddar 1 through 6 is pumping at full steam. The team's been producing well into 7. Terry, you want to just share kind of where we're at with list 7 and list 8?
List 7 is pretty much, we're hitting the numbers consistently every day. We've expanded our team. We've essentially doubled our team. And within these since Cheddar 5 and 6 got launched, we went out and did a hiring spree. We've been changing the culture up with our team. We're opening up training and communication and kind of getting more involved and having the team members getting more involved with each other. And we've seen a huge bump in production because of it. When a group gets together and they start learning from each other and they start, building up relationships and friendships and creating a fun work environment, you start to see the production. And so our leads have soared. So as of right now, Cheddar 7 we're hitting Cheddar 7 type numbers. We're tapping into Cheddar 8 type numbers. I got a handful of people that we just brought on that we're going to be getting them started and up and running. So in the next couple of weeks, I think that we're going to see even more of a gain in lead production, bringing on some high quality people now. Yeah.
Taylor, I think it'd be kind of fun to talk about what we see kind of on the low end spectrum of lead gen on a daily level and what we're seeing on the high end spectrum of lead gen. And that might kind of allude to where things are moving for us.
So on a low end, I'd say that we're seeing about 70 to 75 unique leads per day. And those are top shelf leads that are coming in. On a high side, we're tapping into 110, 120. I think the most we found one day was about 120.
Yeah, buddy.
So
yeah.
Huge jump. And like I said, we had 2 rounds of hiring that came through in this last month or so. And the first round of hires, they came in during this whole new culture that we're developing in teamwork and training. And they're coming out of the gate so strong that they're matching up with some of our best, longest running team members with the type of numbers that they were producing. And so you got this batch of new people who are coming in, and next thing you know, they're producing at a high level right off the bat because they're being trained and there's communication and they're able to ask questions. And on the flip side of that too, our existing team members who are already doing a fantastic job are even doing better now because again, they're moving into new roles. So there's a lot that's changed between the launch of Cheddar 5 and 6 and where we're at today. And everything seems to be looking for the positive. So for all those who are ready for more Cheddar lists and they want more of the Cheddar, we're getting there.
Mo Cheddar on deck.
Yes, exactly.
So this is real time. So that's good, man. You guys, you guys were all part of this in the group. We had that live fumble on live TV at the last launch of Cheddar 6, and we've responded. So Cheddar 7, that's the truth, man. That's what it is, dude. We've addressed it. We've modified. We strengthened the team both in numbers and in quality of efficiency, and we're seeing it in our numbers. So that's good to hear, man. So if you guys were one of I think we had 85, if I'm not mistaken, people that bought that we had to refund. If you were one of those, you're going to be getting an email. Probably, we haven't talked when. Can we just say soon?
Very soon.
Yeah, very soon. You'll be getting an email. We'll send several emails to you in advance. We'll give you guys first dibs. We're going to do a soft launch on Cheddar 7. So if you guys missed out, you're going to get on 7. You guys will have that soon. 8 will be right behind it. And again, if you don't hear about it in the group, we're going to give everyone first dibs who was a part of those that didn't get a lead list. And then if we have any spots open, those will be offered up publicly in the group soon, after soonish, after soon. So yeah, the next couple of weeks, be looking for that, guys. It'll be coming out. So we want to make sure we have the systems, we strengthen the systems, which we have. So hey, let's pivot real quick. If you guys have questions for us while we're live, this is your chance. I'll do a call to action now, and then also at the end, drop those in chat, either on the Facebook group if you're watching live in the watch party and or in Zoom. If you have a question for Grant, Taylor, myself, anything Amazon related, how we're shifting. I do want to talk about Merchant Fulfilled for 2 reasons. One, I've become very personally interested in Merchant Fulfilled. We're adopting this as a strategy for our private label line, and also there's a lot of opportunity that I've seen. You mentioned this, Grant, that for sellers that have small and light stuff, which we've tweaked our list down. A lot of the essential type items, a lot of those are small and light, and you can merchant fulfill those. A lot of sellers do not merchant fulfill. A lot of FBA sellers are lazy, and we kind of get hooked on the FBA model, and it's easy and it works, and I get it. For those of you that don't have a ton of inventory shoved into Amazon, this is a chance to pivot. So Taylor, I had you pull together some keys to merchant fulfilling, and we've got some tutorial videos and things we'll be sharing at a later date. But for today, Taylor, I just want to say at a high level, what are some of the keys you guys are doing for your merchant fulfilled system?
So small items, you're going to find the easiest to merchant fulfill small items. I would say a rule of thumb that we're kind of sticking to is shoe boxes and smaller. And the only reason I say shoe boxes specifically is because we can ship it in the box. It's something that we can, put inside of a bag. We don't have to have a box specifically for it. So things like clothing items are able to be merchant fulfilled easily. Makeups, perfumes, lotions, anything like that. Those are the items that I'm talking about are technically essential. They're in the health and beauty category, but they're not as essential. Those are, and they're easy to be merchant fulfilled. And right now, since merchant fulfill is getting the buy box more often and is also able to compete with FBA on price, it's a good time to switch over to that type of model. It allows us to sell quickly, sell the inventory, don't have to wait for it to go live on Amazon. Make sure you're stocked up on your packing materials. The last thing you want is you don't want to have an order come in and you not have the proper materials to ship it. So make sure that you're keeping in tune with what you have on your shelves for packing materials. Things like poly bags, shipping bags, small boxes, bubble wrap, tape. You want to make sure you have plenty of 4x6 printing labels for your Dymo printer. So all those things that you would possibly need. Now, granted, some people might be wanting to merchant fulfill larger items and boxes. That strategy is perfectly good too. What we do is we want to keep it smaller. Also with FBM or with merchant fulfill, now that you can compete better with FBA, keeping your prices matched with FBA. On some cases, if you want, you can even go a little higher, is what guys like Charles were just saying. And that's perfect.
Matching with FBA prices and or higher.
I'm seeing some, Charles made a good point there that some people, especially if there's a shipping delay on a product for FBA, some customers are going to want that product sooner. They're not going to want to wait a couple of weeks. So they'll probably pay a little bit more to get from a merchant fulfiller who can fulfill that order within, 5 to 6 days.
Okay. So that's a shift, because before, like Grant said, you'd have to be priced 10% lower just to win the buybacks. Now you're seeing Amazon allow people to win the buybacks at matching and or higher sometimes. You guys have to play with that.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned offline.
On a per item basis.
The easy, safe way would just say to price. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a big.
Well, and I'm seeing it too. Checking in the items today and on the lead list and stuff like that, there's a lot of merchant fulfill offers that are matching with FBA, more than I've seen before. So matching with FBA and the fact that you're the one shipping it, you're not relying on Amazon's fulfillment. Amazon doesn't possibly even want to take that order on right now. So if they're willing to give that buy box to the merchant fulfiller, because it's providing better customer service, which is what Amazon's number one goal is to do. So I would say matching with FBA or even trying to beat FBA by a penny isn't a bad idea too. You're going to have a lower price on top of the fact that you're going to be able to ship. And then, like I said, I already touched on the essential items that you could FBA, but might be a better plan to merchant fulfill those. It's really easy to slide a makeup, a makeup palette or, into a padded envelope and send it out that way, than to ship it into FBA, wait for it to finally become available.
Yep. Okay. We also got clothing on there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, clothing is an easy one. It's as easy as throwing it in a poly bag, throwing it into a shipping bag, slapping a label on it. You don't have to worry about it getting damaged, in the process of shipping, like you might with, glass items or any type of lotions with a lid. Make sure that your lid is 100% secure when you're shipping it in, especially if you're using a padded envelope. We've had that happen a couple of times where an item arrives to a customer and it's damaged and started leaking, probably because it got tossed and thrown around. So make sure you're using that bubble wrap. Make sure you're protecting it as best as you possibly can to ship it to the customer. That's the last thing you want. Is you don't want a customer arriving and finding a damaged product that's leaking, and now you have to either refund or send them a replacement.
Sure. So this is also, here's the key. So with merchant filled, you're saying small and light. You say shoebox or less. Think even like in something like I would say even small, like a 4x6 box, like small lightweight stuff. It has to weigh a pound or less. That's with the packaging, right? So
Yeah.
really, we're talking like 14-ounce type stuff and less. Get your supplies. So Dymo printers, like your best friend. A lot of you guys already have the Dymo XL, the 4x6 labels.
I want to touch on the weight. You can, I mean, the pound and less is a nice rule of thumb, because you're going to be, once you go over a pound in shipping, the shipping cost jumps up considerably.
Right.
I want to say a pound or less, you'd be shipping to most states in the United States, or at least what we see shipping out of Washington. It's about $4 or less for an item that's less than a pound, as long as the dimensions aren't too large. If you're going over a pound, that's perfectly fine too. Just make sure you have the margin to compensate for that. Make sure you're checking on your rev seller or whatever calculator you see that's calculating up what the sale or the shipping cost is that they're taking out, and take that into consideration. Leave yourself a little bit more room there in your price and make sure that you're able to do it. So like an item like shoes, if I'm making a $20 bill on shoes and they're saying it's going to cost $5 or $6 to ship it, I'm going to assume that it's really going to cost me like $10 or $11 to ship the product because of the dimensions, not just the weight. So I'm going to make sure that I'm making at least a $20 bill, maybe making at least a 50% ROI. Really for me at that point, it would be the net. It would be the net price of what I'm really looking for. Do I have the dollar? Am I making enough dollars in profit to take in any surprise costs when it comes to shipping? Also got to take in consideration the shipping material that you're spending to ship that item out too. Yep. So you can go over a pound if you want to. Just make sure you have the profit in there and that you're making a wise decision before you're setting your price for Amazon.
Yeah, I was gonna add to that. Like I'm pretty sure, like with Rev Seller, for example, it's calculating your shipping costs based on the weight of the product that it sees on the listing or whatever is recorded in the listing. And like Taylor said, if it's a shoebox, it might say $6 or $7, but it's really going to be more like 11, 12, sometimes even 15 if it's a really big pair.
Okay.
So that's kind of a rule of thumb. I think when we create our tutorials, we'll create some examples of what that looks like and how to kind of calculate that out of your profit.
So yeah, that's good to know. So it's not just like one or the other. You can merchant fulfill. I mean, you can merchant fulfill anything. It's just how do you make it work? So that's good to know. The small and light is ideal. I didn't know the shipping was that cheap. I just I've run to that's crazy, man. Cool. Let me ask a couple questions from you guys on live. So John asked, what is I believe you're saying, John, what is FBA? So he said, what is SVA? We didn't say that. So let me just clarify this in case we're talking fast. Sometimes it's easy, guys. We just start spitting lingo. So fulfillment by Amazon, where Amazon's doing the packing, the prepping, the fulfilling for you, versus merchant fulfilled. And I believe in Amazon, it says it's merchant fulfilled network, is I believe how they have that on their back end, where you are doing putting the labels and packing and shipping. So that's what we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes here. How do you do that?
I think what he meant was SBA.
Right, SBA.
That question came in when we were talking about
SBA. So the Small Business Association. Okay, forgive me. I totally missed that one.
I think SBA is secured by assets, right? So and it could be something else, but I'm pretty sure it's secured by assets. And I could be wrong about that. And I believe that it's a government insured loan. And usually they want to secure that loan with either your home. You can use your inventory as an asset to secure that loan with, stuff like that. And so they can be hard to get actually if you don't have a lot of inventory to leverage, or if you don't want to leverage your home.
Okay, so not relevant for most people watching us. So okay.
No, I think right now it's probably the best time. I mean, with the stimulus package that's going to be rolling out, they're investing into small businesses. Government's backing loans for small businesses as well. I heard from a prominent Amazon seller. I was watching one of their calls today, and he was being vague on purpose. But some of the wording on those loans too, there might be even a small chance that those loans could turn even into grants for small businesses. So if you're a business with less than 500 employees right now, this might be the time to start talking to your bank and start trying to secure one of those loans while the government's handing out fat checks. So.
Right.
Yeah, so I've got several. I see a lot of this on my Facebook feed. From what I've gathered too, I think, do people need to have their 2019 taxes done to be able to qualify for some of these opportunities? To the best of your knowledge?
2018 and 2019, you want to just make sure that your information is current. So your address and your routing number and account number for, oh, you brought out the big guns.
Could you see you're scared the bejeebies out of me?
Yes.
This little person here goes, ah! We're talking about boring stuff. You don't want to be a part of this conversation.
But if you're I lost track of where I was at.
I know. Sorry, dude.
No, the cuteness was too much.
We're talking about we're talking about the 18 and 19, having your 18 and 19 taxes done to qualify for some of this stuff. So if you don't, I know there's like been extensions with the 2019 stuff. It's still in your best interest to get your 19s filed so you can apply for some of these things and get first in line. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of this, whether it's grants or small business loans from the SBA. Grant, I'm not familiar with what you were talking about. I hadn't heard of that before, but
I could be wrong.
But yeah, you want to get, I was just curious about that. We're getting off the reservation a little bit. Hey, let me ask, there was a question that came up. Since this is Freestyle Friday, and Grant and Taylor and myself are now rappers. So we're going to do our own version of freestyle. We'll take some live questions from you guys. Since we're on here, and I know there's a lot of challenges going on. So one of the questions that came up, type them in chat in Zoom and or on Facebook. I got Facebook pulled up here. We can pull through these. There's a question about flips, man. A couple questions about flips. What's going on with our Amazon flips? Are these valid during this time? A lot of the flips were clothing and shoes. So a lot of that stuff isn't. What's happening with that stuff?
So yeah, like you said, a lot of our flips are going to be more in the shoe and clothing. It comes from all categories, but majority is going to be in shoes and clothing. So not going to be looked at as an essential product. That being said, still not a bad idea to purchase those items with the intent of sending in once FBA opens up. You're taking advantage. What the main part about flips is you're taking advantage of a price that it never has been before that Amazon is dropping and essentially most likely taking a loss on. So not a bad idea to keep on purchasing those. I know that we're still purchasing those, the good ones that we see come through and the ones that we like. Probably being a little more selective than we normally would be, but we're not afraid to purchase those because the opportunity is there. The nice thing with those two is, no one else is going to be able to send them in either as well. So odds are if Amazon's dropping that price, which shoots down the rank, and people buy up those low price offers that Amazon gives you, no one's going to be in stock when you send it in. You get to determine the price now, or you can compete with Amazon if they raise their price back up.
Can you merchant fulfill those flips?
You could. Yeah, absolutely. You could. Yeah. There's no reason why you can't.
Depending on how the weight, you have to run it and see how the weight would work for items. So, I mean, we're really looking at like 2 weeks basically from the date of this till when Amazon's going to potentially, I mean, again, nobody knows based on what they've told us, we're going to start to open up categories. So 2 weeks to a month to 6 weeks. So we're probably early in that, and there's a lot of sellers that are just going to ignore all these deals, and so you'll probably have a lot less competition if you had a portion of your budget. So what percent would you say? I mean, you guys are still buying a lot of essential stuff. Are you doing a smaller percent flips these days?
We're doing a smaller percent. Yeah, we're being more selective over what we're purchasing, and we're also able to spend our budget right now off of the Cheddar list. I don't have an exact percentage. I would say probably in our inventory right now, less than 10%, but more than 5% of our inventory is coming from Amazon flips.
Yeah.
Because maybe a little bit more. I mean, I'd say we can spend about $500 to $600 in the morning on flips. The only trouble that we have is that Charles does all of our purchasing now and our shipping, and I've been working on other projects. So keeping up in tune, we usually do our purchasing in the morning, but Amazon flips are dropping throughout the whole entire day. So if I was just sitting there watching flips, I would be able to purchase more.
Yeah.
One question on flips that I saw come through, and I want to touch on because I'm also seeing this. You buy a flip, you send it in, you're selling it for the same price that Amazon has historically been selling it for, and they suppress your buy box and they throw an alert because of a high potential pricing issue. My answer to that and what I'm seeing happen is I just start to lower my price. So I might lower it by $5 than what Amazon has historically done. If they throws me another alert, I'll lower it by another $5. I'll kind of find that sweet spot to where Amazon wants me to sell it at. I agree it's kind of ridiculous that Amazon can set that price high and then they'll turn around and tell me I can't. But again, I have room in these Amazon flips. There's usually a lot more profit and net, so I'm fine lowering my price slowly until I find that sweet spot. It's most likely not going to be at a point where you're breaking even or losing money. You're still going to be looking at a profitable item.
Yeah.
That's happened 4 or 5 times out of all the flips that we've been purchasing that I get an alert like that. So it's rare, but it seems like they're doing it more, especially now, right now. And it probably is because they have an algorithm change that is going through and is alerting for items that they think are priced higher, probably because Amazon was recently priced low. And then you came in and you're setting your price to where Amazon was at historically. The algorithm's probably throwing a flag saying that you're charging too much. You're not really, but you got to kind of adapt with the algorithm. And so find that sweet spot, get rid of your unit or two, and I'd say move on to the next one.
Yeah. So unfortunately, this is one area that's been affected. Again, look through the storm though, too. This is like, we're going to see probably a month of this, and then it's going to be back. So adjust your business accordingly, fill your store with as much essentials as you can, and think ahead. A lot of sellers are freaked out. So they all, same thing's happening on Facebook with media. Like media is super cheap right now. I was reading the other day because everyone paused their ads. So when everyone does one thing, I say this a million times, it's a good opportunity to look the other way, and you're going to find opportunities looking upstream. Because I would predict, and again, we could be wrong, but I would predict that within a couple of weeks here, definitely within 4 to 6 weeks, I would say pretty confidently, we're going to see things, Amazon's going to reopen back up again. Right. So starting on the April 5th and then moving on beyond that. And then I think it depends on what you sell in your listing. They're going to, trickle it through. It's in Amazon's best interest to be open. It's in our best interest. They're just, it's amazing though. I will say this, it's amazing how fast that company turned on a dime. Like for Cheddar to turn on a dime and adjust our sourcing, we're relatively a small company. I mean, in the grand scheme of the world, Amazon's a whale. So to have them hire 100,000 people, shut down everything non-essential, open up only essential, and going in and out of their warehouse and make this kind of a pivot so quickly is pretty amazing, actually, how they're supporting it. So cool. So that's what's happening, guys. I mean, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's happening in the industry. I think the merchant fulfilled will continue to be an opportunity. We're going to use it for our PL in the meantime here. Grant, hey, Grant had a, that's you.
Good question.
Did Taylor talk about the current flips plan with bigger team and more leads? So we haven't really talked about that. Do you want to talk about kind of what's coming on the pipe for flips?
Yeah. So again, just like we doubled our team with our OA Cheddar list, we've doubled our team with our flips. One of the things that we did is we offered out to all those who we fumbled on when it came to Cheddar 5 and 6, we gave them access to Cheddar flips to give it a try for 30 days. So we saw our groups essentially almost become full, if not full. And one of the things I quickly realized was, oh wow, with this many more people in the group, Amazon's selling out of these products extremely quickly because people are taking advantage. What we've done to fix that, we've doubled our team size. We're doubling our lead production for that. Very close, actually. They're almost ready to start posting in the group and allowing them access. A little different than with Cheddar leads, because with flips, they're posting live into a Facebook group. So we want to make sure that they are ready to deliver high quality leads. They've been training, they've been working, they're about ready to start. And once that happens, you should see an increase of the Amazon flips. My hope is that they'll be doubled. So we're expanding, we've addressed that, we're fixing it, and we're gonna make it just that much better. As well as training and other things come along too for those who are not familiar with Amazon flips and how to compete with that type of strategy.
Yeah. Let me take a second to pull. I'm trying to, this is my mistakes. I should have had you guys all post questions just on Zoom, because I'm reading Zoom and 2 things on Facebook. So I saw a bunch of questions in the chat on Zoom here. Would it be helpful? We're kind of running through some highlights. We wanted to pop out and just kind of have this authentic conversation. Would you guys be interested if we put together more detailed tutorials on how to do merchant fulfilled? Like how to list the products, how to go through the packing and prepping? Would that be interesting or helpful for you guys? Eloy, you were asking, can you do a quick run through on how to list an item? So Taylor, is the listing process much different than just is there anything different really?
Not too much. You create your listing. you go into set your price with your repricer. You want to make sure that you have a strategy that's going to compete with the merchant fulfill offers over the FBA offers. Right now at this time, you might want to try considering doing, testing out both, especially if you're trying to match whatever FBA price is. Or you can just stick with matching the merchant fulfill offer. You set your mins and your maxes the same. I'd say set your minimums with the a little higher than you normally would. If you're following the way that Grant and I set our pricing strategy with FBA, we usually will set $1.50 to $2 more than break even, because if we're gonna, we're gonna follow it down until we get to a point where we're breaking even, and then we don't want to follow it any further. So I would say maybe set up a little bit higher just to take in the shipping cost considerations. Check the dimensions that Amazon has. Make sure that they seem to be close to a match with what you're shipping in. Product dimensions can get changed and can be fudged. So you want to make sure that, it at least matches up close to what you're sending out as well. But yeah, I mean, there's not a tremendous amount different. I mean, you're going to look at the keeper graph maybe a little bit differently. You're going to be looking at the new FBM price with the shipping costs into consideration. I heard some great conversation in Black Chat about setting up free shipping for merchant fulfills versus setting your price with shipping costs added on into it.
Okay. So instead of pricing it at $20 plus shipping, you just price it at $30 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you're setting up a merchant fulfill offer, you got to realize that the price isn't what you're seeing; it's the price plus whatever the shipping cost is from your competitors. So you're trying to match up to that cost for the item plus the shipping cost. Now, if you're offering free shipping, that's where you want your whatever price you're set at to match up with whatever the merchant fulfill offer is plus their shipping costs. If you want to charge for a shipping cost, so that way your item looks like it's actually less money, but you're charging a fee for shipping like every other seller does. Again, you want to make sure that you're matching up dollar for dollar, that it's a match.
Okay. I think one of the strategies behind what we were seeing in Black Chat is some people are not doing free shipping. They're charging shipping in order to make sure that their price doesn't look like it's too high, and they're avoiding that whole price gouging type of atmosphere. And so that's, I think, something that they're doing. The other thing I would say too is inside of our repricer, we can't, really, is to make things easy in terms of repricing and knowing what is a merchant fulfill listing versus an FBA listing. We put MFN at the beginning of our SKUs. So all merchant fulfill listings have that at the beginning. Makes it super easy for Taylor to recognize what that is and how to set it up in terms of the strategy. The other thing I would say is because of the way things are operating right now, with merchant fulfill offers being able to compete with FBA offers, is you can essentially just compete with the lowest price on the listing at that time, whether it's FBA or merchant fulfill. Just compete with the lowest price offer.
So this is good, man. Well, the people have spoken, gentlemen. I don't know if you're watching the Facebook chat. There's Rana says yes. Scott said, yeah, that'd be great. There's questions. Rana saying, info on how to convert a current FBA listing into a merchant fulfilled. So this is simple stuff. I think it would be helpful, Taylor, to have like a look over your shoulder kind of a thing. So I'm just going to put you on the spot because I know this is on our project list to create. One thing I want to throw in the conversation, because we can't really do that here. It'd be difficult to kind of like go through a full kind of merchant fulfilled tutorial, but we can add that certainly to next week. Tracy's thrown in the conversation about multi-channel fulfillment. If Amazon is delayed in shipping, how does this benefit us? So I've been exploring also this week. Actually, I've been gathering a bunch of other, call them 3PLs, so third-party logistics centers. You guys can Google 3PL and then your city to find, they're all over the country, alternatives to Amazon's. Deliver is one of these. So Deliver, DELIVERR.com. It's got 2 R's. If someone can type that into the chat. That's just an example. In like doing something like setting up a Shopify account with a fulfillment center. I've been researching this too. Grant, I'll give my opinion on it. I'll let you kind of chime in on it. I researched this, and then one of my mentors said, well, if you're going to do that, why not just set up your listing and just do merchant fulfilled? Because I didn't realize I could use Amazon shipping for part of that. So it's almost just as easy. I know a lot of sellers, like I'll call them medium-sized sellers, like $2 to $10 million range. And that sell a ton of stuff, a lot of private label stuff. And a lot of them, they'll sell on Amazon, Walmart, Shopify, their own store. And a lot of those people, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of them, you know, when I ask them what percentage of your sales are from Amazon versus your other channels, it's like 80-20. It's like 80%. I'm like, dude, 80% of your traffic still coming. They're like, dude, it's coming from Amazon. So it doesn't mean there's not traffic out there. In order to do that successfully, I've seen the companies that do that. You've got to get good at driving your own traffic. So either Facebook ads, video ads, YouTube ads, some other type of media to your store. And you've really got to, I mean, you've got to drive that. So there is opportunity there. Personally, I kind of, when I researched Deliver, I kind of put a pause and dialed it back and said, I'm just going to do merch and fulfill during the season. You know, we do plan to add multi-channel down the road, but I like to just do the low-hanging fruit. Like, there's plenty of work right here. I'm like, why would I go dig in this garden if I could just merch and fulfill? That's my belief with where we're at. Grant, what's your thoughts on third-party logistics and using someone else besides FBA to fulfill?
I mean, I haven't really, to be honest with you, I haven't even heard the phrase multi-channel fulfillment for like 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, I just haven't heard it. I remember it was a big topic, and my memory of the way that we used to, you know, what multi-channel fulfillment was, is selling on other channels and then maybe using Amazon's FBA system to fulfill those orders. So I think there's a couple different ways to interpret multi-channel fulfillment. To be honest, like, again, it's like it's a vague memory.
You just stay in your lane, man. That goes to show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's that 80%. That's the 80% of Amazon.
Well, I've heard of other, you know, major sellers too, that like they would sell their products on other platforms like eBay and et cetera, and realize that you know 40% of their efforts were in these other channels, but only, like you said, 20% of their sales were coming from those other channels, and they finally just dumped everything else and went straight to Amazon because it was more efficient.
Yeah.
So
it's the elephant in the, like, on a 30,000 foot view. Everyone's like, you know, if you got all your eggs on Amazon and they do something silly or they ban you, you get banned. So you got to have like another channel. And I see that, but it's just, it takes a lot of work and energy to build a new piece. I do think long-term it's healthy to do that, but yeah, I'm just going to do merchant fulfilled, at least for right now. So, well, let's wrap this up, man. If you guys have any closing questions for Grant or I, here's the summary of today. We shared the updates, the changes. Stay the course. I guess if I could summarize today's message, stay the course. Keep your foot on the gas pedal on the essential items. Cheddar 7 and 8 is on deck. We've strengthened the team. I mean, we moved really quickly. Taylor, you've done a great job in Grant, both you guys, in hiring and training the new people and our existing team. We're seeing our production increasing. So you're going to see more Cheddar from us. It's exciting. It makes me I love hearing we're doing 70 to 110, 120 leads a day. I love seeing that. I love seeing fatty Cheddar bombs dropped on Fridays. If you guys like that today, if you're on Cheddar, drop a like in the group. And if you guys are ready, I think the biggest news of this, if you guys are ready for Cheddar 7 and 8, whether you are a part of the 85, if you were part of the 85 of the last launch that missed out, you know it. If you're on here and you're just new to the group and you're like, who is this 85? Just go to oacheddar.com and opt in is probably going to be the best way to get on these lists. If you guys are pumped about 7 and 8 and you want to be ready for those when they come out, I don't even want to put a timeline on it, Taylor. I just want to say real soon. Grant and I are going to be like on it, like white on rice to get real soon. If you guys would have wanted that, type a yes for 7 or a yes for 8. Just let us check in with you guys. Let us know where you guys are at here. If y'all are watching this on the YouTubes, thanks for subscribing on the YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys. And if you're not part of our Facebook group, if you're watching the recording, click below this video and get in the Facebook group. That's where these weird little productions happen. Let's see here. Closing thoughts. Charles said, buying tip for yourself from Amazon. Don't use Prime account. Can be delayed by using your business account, and it ships within days. Have you guys seen that? Making personal, like, business purchases faster from your business account than from your Prime account?
Well, we don't really buy from our Prime account very often. We're almost always buying from our business account. For flips, you have to buy it off of your business account. You can't be using Prime. And then also, even for the stuff that we order, we're usually just using our, for our office or something like that. We're just sticking it with our business account.
He says, Charles says no for personal, TP, etc. So he's basically saying if you're buying stuff, for your home, use your business account and the stuff will deliver quicker.
Gotcha. He's using your business account, personal debit card, but business account. Gotcha. You guys are sneaky, man. It's kind of hard. We're like reading your comments, so sometimes I think things get lost in translation in the comments. So forgive us. We're regular people just reading it. I see a yes in the Facebook chat to Cheddar 7 and 8. So I think the group's ready. That makes me excited. We like to do things different. When everyone's closing doors, we're all online, so we're going to let OA Cheddar grow during the season.
Yep.
Thank you. Cool. So I'll just put a bow tie on that. If you guys miss out on the Cheddar 6 launch, y'all are first in line. So we're going to give the first 85 first dibs, probably in the order I'll be sending out like segments of the email to certain people at first. We'll probably send out 55. The first 55 will get an email very soon, so within days, and we'll probably send a couple emails so that you don't miss it. And then we'll most likely email the rest of that list, and then we'll move on to the waiting list. If you're not on the waiting list for one of our lists, go to oacheddar.com and enter your name and email to any one of the lists. Pick which list you want to get on. That'll put you on a list, and Cindy's been doing a great job at keeping that organized in the order that you signed up. So until we have a better system, this is the most fairest way we can do it. We're going to release it to that 85 first. And then Cindy does a great job. If you guys know this, for example, she'll send an email to you guys, and you may have joined the waiting list like 6 months ago. So you get an email like, holy cow, she's just getting around to it. Like, yeah, I don't know how big the list is, Grant, 200, 250, something like that. I haven't checked it in the last like week or so, but yeah, it's building up. So that's how to get on it. And then we'll soft launch Cheddar 7 and Cheddar 8. And then the plan, I mean, I think it's fair to say this publicly. I don't think there's any reason to hide this. The plan is to release Cheddar 9 and Cheddar 10 behind it. So that'll probably be, I'm just going to forecast maybe 60 to 90 days-ish behind it. Plan is to be at a full Cheddar by peak season. So I'm going to share this goal publicly just so it can hold us all accountable. So having 10 full Cheddar list by the end of August would be the goal. Come September 1st, the kickoff of Q4, we want to be locked and loaded and have the Cheddar team overproducing. So we're going to keep hiring and staffing up and building towards Q4. I know it doesn't seem like it right now because we're in the middle of winter, but I'd like to cast that vision for you guys to look past the storm and, look a month, 2, 3 months, 4 months down the road. And I think a lot of areas, especially for us in the e-commerce space, online business space, it's going to be business as usual. And if anything, my humble prediction, we didn't talk about this, guys, maybe we can finish on this. The rebound, my humble prediction is that e-commerce and Amazon is going to be stronger on the backside of this whole coronavirus thing, because people that weren't shopping on Amazon are getting accounts and are signing up in record numbers. Amazon's doubled down, and those of us that already have private accounts, we're changing our buying habits and things that we were going to Target for. I personally, I'm like an example of this. We buy our essentials at Target still today. Now toilet paper, all this kind of stuff. Speaking of which, Amazon delivery, live Amazon. Hey there. Thank you. Okay, it's buzzing in. I think we're going to buy more. That's my humble prediction. So Grant, real quick, your thoughts, man. What are your thoughts on the rebound? What that's going to look like?
100%. I mean, everybody in my circles and in the brand building circles and Amazon circles is saying the same thing. I mean, right now people are at home. They're not going out in the marketplace. They're learning how to buy online, and that goes for all generations. And the cool thing is what we're going to see happen is strong sellers, people who have been doing a good work, and strong brands that have a good product and a great service are going to survive this, and all of the junk. All the junk is getting dumped. And that goes for sellers that, don't play the game right. Obviously we've seen that with, 4,000 plus sellers getting their accounts suspended, which is sad and awful. I hate that, because I imagine there's some good sellers who've gotten caught in the crosshairs. So if that's you, I'm not talking about you, but bad sellers are getting removed from the Amazon platform, and junky brands are getting removed from Facebook advertising platforms and so on. So we're going to see some really cool stuff.
Yeah. Quick comment, and then I'll turn it over to Taylor. I think that's wise words, Grant. Tracy said, thanks, guys. This was way more comforting than the daily news briefing from the White House. So there you go.
Although those are very entertaining.
Those are I can only watch so much, dude. I've watched probably 30 seconds of the White House. They're doing them daily. They're doing them daily.
It's almost too much.
It's depressing, dude. I can't watch that guy every day.
Yeah.
Gary Springs says a Cheddar Black 2020 in August. So I'm not We're not going to be launching Cheddar Black in August. It'll be most likely in September. We haven't talked about an exact date, but most likely it'll be after the kickoff of Q1. Grant, our plan, what I'm talking about, Gary, so for us to produce Cheddar Black for you guys, like we got to plan months in ahead. Like we got to be 6 months and ahead of that from a lead generation perspective. So, Cheddar Black this year will have education and training and webinars and things like we always do. We'll do Cheddar Black 2020, but the lead package, which is like the bread and butter of our Q4, we're stocking up now and staffing up and training and building our systems so that by August, we can have Cheddar 1 through 10 open and full, and then have a surplus of leads to pour into Cheddar Black. So that's what I was talking about. Internally, we talk about like our Cheddar Black. Yeah, I mean, our deadline really is August for lead generation. You guys won't see that. Grant, we didn't talk about this, but most likely September. Is that fair?
Yeah, we're going to be planning it over the summer. In fact, I was talking to Taylor today about some ways that we're going to do Cheddar Black a little different. I mean, the goal is always to do it better than the previous year, right? If we can't
one up ourselves,
we have to one up ourselves. And so we have some cool ideas for ways to, some systems to add that are going to be very unique that we haven't seen in the past 2 years. In addition to that, I want to just make it clear that, right now we are not a retail arbitrage heavy store anymore. We're in fact 100% OA. So, and I'll just throw this out there, Gabe, we haven't talked about it, but if there's somebody that's watching this and somebody in our group that, is a very successful, retail arbitrage seller and might want to partner with us on this project, we could probably use some help in the RA side of Cheddar Black, because I'm not going to be we're not sending Taylor out to the stores.
You're not going this year. This will be the first year you guys, you're not planning on doing RA with Taylor this year.
We will probably still take advantage of RA, but we're not going to be, it takes a lot of time to invest into lead generation and for retail arbitrage, a lot of footwork, pounding the pavement and traveling around, especially for us. So if you have access to stores and you feel comfortable, sharing leads, there might be a way for us to partner up. And so you should reach out to Taylor, myself, or Gabe, and we can start having that conversation.
I'd volunteer to reach out to Taylor because you're the expert in this area.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is, we haven't talked. You guys have always scooped up heavy. This is the first year. I mean, you're all in on OA, and you'll be that. So maybe this year will be more like a stealth mission. Like you're like the special ops. Like you get in, you get out, a couple of things. I know Devin Motti kind of runs his Q4 like that. It's very intentional runs, right? Instead of trying to go get the mega sweep, it'll be a different strategy. So that'll be cool. I think there's a lot of people, my guess, guys, is that there's a lot of people in our group that would value a strategy like that more than the big RA sweep, because I bet most of our group is heavy OA. So we want to say, here's how to do, Black Friday from an OA perspective. And then if you want to sprinkle in just for good old time's sake and just go buy some stuff, here's a couple of key items off the list. That, we can formulate a real tight RA list.
Well, the cool thing about OA is it will lead to retail arbitrage opportunities. And so there'll be some flexing there.
Yeah. Semes says yes, and Beverly says yes, OA. So I think we're on that. So cool. Taylor, real quick, man, what are your thoughts on the rebound? I mean, you guys are always kind of planning ahead, but what are your personal thoughts on it?
Oh, I think it's going to happen. Like Grant said, this is kind of sifting through the people who are on the market now, and the ones who hold past this obstacle are going to be much better off. I also think that there's a lot of people out there who are working and who are going to benefit from a check from the government, and not in the sense, not to devalue the ones who are out of a job right now. My heart goes out to them, and what our government's doing to help them is great. But there's a lot of folks who are still working, who are still that check's a bonus to them. And so I think that is going to stimulate the economy. And I think it's going to end up showing in our sales. I think there's going to be a big uptick in buying, especially once this starts to calm down and Americans start to go back to work. Mm-hmm. I might be wrong. I don't think this is going to last months. I know that a lot of people would like to spread the news that we're going to be in quarantine for the next 2 to 3 months. I don't see that happening. I think maybe a month from now, we'll probably be coming out of this. You get that from the other countries that have already gone through this, and you're already starting to see that their curve is starting to flatline and even trend down. And so with that, with the stimulus bill that's hitting the economy, there's going to be a lot of people out there spending money ready to buy. Everything's going to go back to normal. So we're going to wait out this storm, and then we're going to take advantage of it right now. prices are low to buy. Prices are going to go back up, once all this calms down. So we want to make sure we're taking advantage of this opportunity. So later on down the road, we can take advantage of this opportunity. So
it's a good word, man. Time will tell. We will see. It's interesting perspective about the stimulus package. I would probably have to agree that $1,200, it's going to make a difference. Some of that money is going to trickle into people's buying that they've been waiting. There's a snapback that's going to happen. If they're waiting, I shared this publicly the other day, but I have a friend who runs a moving company, and he's like, I think we're going to see our moves slow down, but then everyone that was going to move, they're just going to push it back maybe to summer or fall, and it's going to snap back, and they're still going to move. So if they were going to buy something before, people's buying habits are changing. We're not, everyone's staying home. We just bought a bunch of groceries 2 weeks ago. So people are, not buying as much as they were, but everything's in cycles, man. So don't, that's the message through all this is be consistent. The consistent entrepreneurs win. Be a visionary, be a leader in your family and in your business. Look beyond the storm, batten on the hatch if you have to, move to essential items, but keep making progress, keep moving forward, and be ready. If you can afford to make those inventory purchases now, be ready to send those in, when the storm snaps back. So cool. Well, thanks for the time. Grant Dunn, Taylor Dunn, East Wenatchee, Washington. Appreciate all the hard work for both you guys, man, behind the scenes. There's a lot that happens, you guys. We got an orchestra, a virtual orchestra it takes to produce these cheddar leads for you guys. You guys just get the emails every day. It shows up in your inbox, and then you post in the group when line 87 doesn't match as this. Like, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. But the good news is we've got lots of leads coming at you guys. The plan is for more cheddar coming at you. And you like that?
Yeah, I like it.
That's free, folks. Don't quit your day job. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. Appreciate you too, bro. Thank you.
appreciate you too.
Yeah, man. Cool, guys. Well, thanks for being in the group. Appreciate you guys for subscribing to Cheddar. Thank you for being a loyal subscriber. We're extremely grateful to be able to serve you guys through the good times and the bad times. We're all in this together. And again, we'll see you guys in the group. Have an awesome day. Have a good weekend, guys.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.